Hey everybody, it's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table on My Style Mondays. I'm here with Debbie, CEO Debbie Reynolds of Debbie Reynolds Consultancy. She is also the data diva, so you know we have to talk to her because she is a fashionista and a data diva. So, welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I love the show. So I've seen many of your episodes, and so you really keep it lively. I like it.
Well, excellent. So we want to talk about, okay, you're a data diva.
Yeah.
What okay, tell us, give us the definition of the data diva.
Yeah. So I work at the intersection of data, technology, law, and privacy. So I am a technologist by trade. I've done work in many different industries, a lot of times around digital transformation. So back then, when I started over 20 years ago, it was just called transformation, right? So stuff was in paper, and people were trying to get it into digital form. So now we have data that's in digital forms, and people are trying to use it for different things. We have that in a way that doesn't break laws and also helps people sell their products and their services. So that's what I work on. So that's why they call me the data diva.
Okay, because I tell you what, this whole thing with data and protecting your data is serious business. And so many people who are my clients and people who are just friends and family, people who own businesses, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and protecting your data is just critical. And it's nice to talk to somebody who understands that language, but
Yeah.
also can communicate in a way that helps some of us understand and feel comfortable with the whole process of protecting our data.
Yeah, it's tough, and is an issue that touches everybody. So even if you're not working in the space professionally, everyone has a stake in it, right? Everybody wants their data protected in some way or shape or form. So it's pretty interesting.
It is, and there's so many. My husband sometimes he says, "Oh, well, we're just all going to get hacked, so just deal with it, just buckle up." But it's so traumatizing and it's scary, and you feel so kind of like vulnerable,
Right.
and you feel victimized, like you've been physically robbed. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, it's I don't think there's any way for any system to be 100% fail safe, but I think you don't want to be the lowest hanging fruit on the tree, right? Because cyber criminal is going to go over to the easiest target, and you don't want to be the easy target. So that's the goal.
so what are some of your tips that you would recommend for some of us? Like, I know about the the authenticators. The which do you recommend? Like what types of two-way authenticators do you most recommend?
Well, basically, what you're talking about is two-factor authentication.
Two
So
factor. Thank you.
basically, any service that you have and it offers that would be great. Even though it may take you a little bit more time to log into stuff, I think it's really good because cyber criminals they want to go to people who don't have these extra safeguards. So, like for example, you go on Google, sign up for two-factor authentication. It'll probably send you a text or email when you try to sign in because they're like, okay, you put in your password, but then they'll send you something else and say, hey, is this you? And you say, yeah. So anything like that would definitely help. I think, people need to be careful about where they share their data. So, don't click on links. Like if people send you an unsolicited email and it looks really interesting, don't click on those links, right? Because a lot of times those are the ways people's systems get infected. So if you don't know that person, or you're not sure that person is who they say that they are, you should definitely, beware of things like that.
I remember like last year, I had my computer and I'm doing things, and something that came up for Microsoft at the time, and it said that you needed to do this update or whatever, and it was just flashing, and it had the logo and everything. I mean, it's so close. how do you discern? Of course, I clicked on it thinking I'm talking to the person, and it turns out it was a hacker. I had to shut it down and
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how do you discern from some of these logos are so close? It's really
Yeah.
hard to.
I would say anytime you're receiving an email that's unsolicited, don't click on the link. So, like you have a Microsoft account, you can, instead of clicking on the link, close the window, log into your Microsoft account. If there's something going on, they'll tell you once you log in. So, a lot of times people, and what they do is they try to prey on people's anxiety. So, they're like, they want you to do something fast, right? They're like, oh
Mhm.
my God, you're gonna lose access to your account if you don't do this right away. And when
Yeah.
you're in mode, you're not really thinking. So it's like a psychological trick. So, just slow down. When in doubt, don't do anything. So they say, oh my God, if you don't do this, we're gonna get canceled. If you don't do anything, you're like, well, it didn't get canceled, right? So so yeah, just slow down. Definitely don't go on unsolicited links. And when in doubt, you can always call like your bank. You can always call. Don't use their links. You have the phone number to your bank or whatever, or you have your own login. So log in a different window or whatever. Say, hey, look and see what's happening so that you know that you're not being scammed.
Man, this is some good stuff because I think I could probably check off every box of the things that you warn people I have done. And I just even with social media being careful, you can easy I was hacked with that, people. I was told by a young man who was working in cybersecurity. He said, "Well, you are low hanging fruit, and a lot of times these people want to go after smaller fish um, because you're easier to get to."
Right. Exactly, exactly. So making sure you're changing your passwords often. I highly recommend people get a password manager. Some they may suggest like hard passwords to help you save them in a way that makes it easy for you to retrieve them if you forget them. Being able to, make sure that you're not answering these unsolicited links, whether they be on your phone or your computer. Like I got one just the other day talking about, your Netflix account is going to get canceled or something if you don't click on this link. And I was like, no, it's not. So they just try to, they don't know. They just come up with anything. Like they'll say, hey, you have a Chase bank account and this, and that. And it's like, well, I don't have a Chase bank account. You know what I mean? So what they've done, they've automated this. So they send these blast things out and they just see who picks it up, right? So they send out 100 of these things and only one person picks it up. Like they won, right? Because they got someone's data that they weren't supposed to have.
Wow, it's been they put a lot of effort into.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like, is there a university for hackers? What is the deal with that? So
Right.
what drove you to, because I know you like fashion. So what drove you to data? To
I read a book in 1997 called The Right to Privacy, and it was my mother's book, and I was fascinated by what was private and what wasn't, because I think in the U.S. we have a misconception. We think, oh, we have free speech and land of the free, home of the brave, but privacy isn't a right, fundamental right in the Constitution. So a lot of the problems that we have in the US as it relates to regulation is because a lot of those things aren't protected, right? So for me, it was just very interesting. So around that time, that was like kind of the start of the internet age. So I just saw all these issues come up as more technology was released. And I thought, wow, this is so different, right? Because I think people initially thought, okay, let's say you have your data, your papers in your house, it's in like in a lockbox or whatever. You think, oh, as long as no one breaks into my house, my data will be okay. But like now your data's on the internet, right? It's in the
Mhm.
cloud, you're texting people back and forth, you're doing phone calls, so you're generating more data that needs to be protected. So it just makes it more, challenging. So for me, I like it because it's like people have tough problems, and I enjoy that, working through that, and also I enjoy communicating it in ways that makes it accessible to everybody. So I say you have to be able to explain it to someone who's 80 or 8 years old. So, I go out of my way to be able to explain things in more simple ways. Where I think some people they like to make it more complex.
See, and I think it's how it's personality too, in delivering that type of information. And also, people are already like on high. I was like high stress when my computer was hacked. I realized that I was talking to somebody I should have been talking to. So I was like high stress. I was freaking
Right,
out. It was like, I ran my computer right over to Geek Squad like it was a hot potato.
right, right.
And you're
Yes,
already so being able to communicate in a way that just kind of calms a person down is huge, huge, you know.
absolutely. I agree. I agree.
Now, let's talk about, because you're in this industry that seems to be, most people stereotypically kind of think it's more closed off, you're more introverted, but you are probably not introverted.
I am actually.
Okay.
So I speak a lot. No one believes that, right? Because I do speak. I speak a lot. I travel a lot. I do a lot of communicating for my business, but in my personal life, I'm very private. So you know, I don't like hang out. Like so, it's so funny because I don't know, someone on the internet was like, "Oh, don't put all your pictures on the internet." It's like, unless you saw me speaking or I had like an official headshot, you didn't see a picture of me anywhere. So I don't have to worry about stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of us aren't one way or another. I think sometimes we could be introverted in some ways and maybe extroverted in others.
Okay. Do you find that you're extroverted in your style?
Yeah, I'm a little bit sassy. I'm a little sassy in my style. I like to go for the. I decided many years ago that I wanted to curate my wardrobe.
Hmm.
So instead of like going from every fad, every new thing, I wanted to get like classic things that I felt that would like go from year to year, season to season, and then I would accessorize. So I would, instead of like I gotten rid of like almost all my black handbags. 'Cause my thing used to be, oh, I wear like a colorful outfit and then I'll have like a black handbag, right? So now I wear more monotone clothes, but I wear like a scarf. I always have a scarf. That's like my signature
Yeah.
thing.
That's your
And
signature. Yeah.
or I have a nice different handbag or something to add like a pop of color to make it a little bit different. And then I travel a lot, so you're like if I'm overseas, I was in Spain for like 10 days, and I was speaking at a conference, and you don't want to be doing luggage or match together, match that look great. When you arrive, and it's not like a disaster. So that helped me a lot.
So when you're in Europe and you're speaking at this conference, I'm assuming it's a tech conference. So, I mean, what's that
Yeah.
like? I mean, what's that experience like talking to all these people who are like not as, I don't know. You tell me what the experience is, what the audience tends to be, and do you find that it's a little different in Europe as opposed to doing speaking at a conference like this in the States?
I don't know necessarily if it's different. Because a lot of the conferences I go to, people come from different places, so it's not so you go to it like I was in Spain, but I like a lot of people were from the U.S. They were from like different countries, so a lot of times even in the U.S. you go to a conference and the people who are there, they're not necessarily from that town, they're just traveling there, so you just get a good cross section or a mix of people, and it's just fun to meet people and figure out how they got there and what they're interested in. I Because I work a lot on the technology side of privacy, I end up at a lot of different events where
Mhm.
privacy isn't the topic, it's just sort of a section that people want to talk about. So if I'm in Like I was in Europe talking about open banking or finance, right, or fintech or something. But all these industries have privacy concerns, so I kind of
Mm.
tailor what I'm talking about privacy to their industry.
So when you step out on stage, because number one, you're a woman, number two, you're a Black woman, and you're stepping out on stage and you're in what, jewel tone color?
Yeah. Well, mostly I do, you know what, on video, like now, I wear jewel tones if I can, or I wear something like dark or like a monotonous color. And I always try to wear like a colorful scarf. So actually today I'm doing a little bit opposite. I would normally wear like maybe a black top or a gray top, and then I wear like a more colorful scarf.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, today I'll do something a little different, do a little jewel tone with my little silk scarf. So yeah, but people know me. That's like my signature item. So every picture you see of me, I have a scarf on of some sort, and I have a whole rack of nothing but scarves, in my house. And so I never, when I'm on video, I do a video every week, and I never repeat. So I always have a new scarf on.
So you have an extensive scarf collection,
Oh yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
sure you know 100 ways to tie those scarves.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had an aunt when I was a teenager that loved scarves, and I started collecting them from her, and I just kind of kept it up. And so I'm just crazy about it now. So I'm bananas. So I just do all types of crazy things. But I love them. And to me, especially on video, like you feel like, when I started doing video for my business, I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't have, I want to do a video every week. It's like I don't have like a outfit that's different every week. So I was like, the scarf was like the easy way to do that, right? Because I can wear like a nice top. I have a whole thing of scarves. Even when I do my videos, I may record like 5 or 6 in a day, and I'm just changing scarves, so it looks different.
Well, that's actually brilliant because it's a fast way to just grab and go and look different and unique, and you don't have to uh, worry about a whole big wardrobe change even in front of the camera. So I totally get it. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also want to know, do you prefer because you're a public speaker, do you do suits or do you prefer dresses, or what's your typical style when you go step out on stage where you feel the most
Yeah,
comfortable?
yeah. Probably a dress. A dress would probably be my first choice. Maybe like a nice wrap dress. I have a couple of those, or a top and a skirt. I almost always wear a skirt or a dress. I don't wear pants, and I don't wear suits. My shoulders are kind of rounded, so suits make me look more boxy, and then it makes you look more wrinkled too, depending on what you look like. But I have these really cool leather jackets that if I wanted to wear a jacket, and it's contoured, it's nice, so those look great. So yeah, it's either like a dress, like a top and a skirt, or if I had to do a jacket, it'd be like my leather jacket. So
And you have such a beautiful complexion, so jewel tones must look amazing on you.
yeah, jewel tones look amazing on everybody.
Well, yeah, yeah, but I just think your complexion is so rich. It's beautiful, and so
Aw,
with
thank you.
that, seriously, and so with the blue, it really stands out. It looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm
So
trying. I'm trying.
yeah. So do you feel like the audience is more conservative when you step out and you look into the audience and here you are with your fun jewel tones and your fabulous scarves?
Yeah, most of the time I go to conference, I'm probably the most colorful looking person there, right? Because most people are very sort of, there are a lot of grays and blacks and blues or whatever. And so I'll have like a jewel tone, purse or, I'll like a really pop color, bring monotony. So it helps me stand out, I think.
Yeah, I talked to another speaker. She said she wears something. She always knows that because there's so few women who we're still not highly represented as far as being speakers. And so she always wears something that people can easily find her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to come up to
Mhm.
talk to her to get more information. And I thought that was a smart thing to do. Dress so you get noticed and people remember you.
Absolutely. Especially you're on a speaker, you're on a stage, so you're going to stand out anyway, right? So you want to be able to put your best foot forward. And, especially if everybody else is wearing things that are very boring, even just a teeny bit of color will just help you stand out.
I hear you. I am like color averse.
You are? You are?
I tend to. I'm trying to bring color into my life. It's it's just
Yeah.
like you said, there's certain things you gravitate towards,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I always gravitate towards neutrals. Like everybody has things.
yeah.
When I'm working with clients, and I've had a couple clients say, "Why are we working on my closet?" And I said, because you have five of the same exact thing. We need to remove it. And it's
Right.
easy to get into a rut. And I'm guilty as anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do that. But having the scarf collection is brilliant because you're always fresh. You always have something new. You have something different in a different color, and it's just easy and fast.
Yeah. And then too, my thing is I never wanted to look dated on a picture, right? So if you see a picture of me, you can't tell what year it was. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I wear bell bottoms or like long lapel or like, it was never overly trendy for that moment. So then it sort of, you know, goes year to year without anyone really, paying much attention. So
But,
like your neutrals, those are great, right? Because it's like, no one can say what year it is. Or you know what I'm saying? They can't say, "Oh my God, that was the Versace from like last year." You're like, I just do the neutral thing and just be done with it.
right. The classics are always the easiest and they last the longest.
Right.
Yeah. So I see some of these really high platforms like this, and I'm like, wow. I don't know how long they're going to take
Right.
to build those platforms like that from 19, like, they're
Right.
really high, and I'm just watching people try to walk in them. It's sometimes simple and classic is always easy, but it's fun to have some fun, you know, trendy pieces in there too to
Oh
keep
yeah,
it
sure.
fresh and updated as
Yeah.
well.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't spend, my thing is my thing is I say if you want to participate in the trend, don't like spend a lot of money on it. Don't
Mm.
spend thousands of dollars on like a hot pink handbag. If that's not your thing, right? If that's just the trend for the moment, if you want to participate, like don't spend that much money because once it goes out of fashion, then you just look weird. So
No, unless you're an AKA, you're going to keep that pink bag.
right, that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, I enjoyed this conversation, and you dropped some serious nuggets on us and help remind us, especially um, during the time when people are shopping and they're returning things, and you really want to keep your items safe. I'm finding that people are shopping more online because
Hmm.
the malls are like really, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but the malls are really shutting. I think people are shopping online more often, and so you definitely need to protect your data and your
Absolutely.
resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. So I would say don't be a lot of times we make mistakes because we get too excited and we get like, we're not thinking straight. So calm yourself down while you're doing this. Make sure you're doing it the right way. Don't like start clicking things crazy or whatever. So just, take it easy and that'll work out better.
There you have it from the expert. And our data diva is going to drop her information in the comments after the show so you can get in contact with her directly if you need any help with your business and protecting your data uh, for your company, your business. You definitely want to connect with her so you can get the information and feel confident that you're getting the information in a way that you'll understand, and you're going to feel respected. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. And I love what you're doing. This is so much fun to talk about fashion because a lot of people, I think a lot of people are just trying to figure it out on their own. So being able to talk to people about it is fun.
It is. Well, I love it. I live and
You're
breathe
good
it.
at it. You're good at it.
My husband's so happy that the boxes are coming to somebody else's house and not just his.
Right.
So you guys, you know where you can find me, Yo Taylor at the Style Table at thestyletable.com. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Please follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, and like my page and watch this video and many others of fabulous people talking about their business and their style, their organizations. We talk about hobbies, passions, and it's just fun conversation. So please join us every Monday at 7 o'clock for My Style Mondays. See you next week. Bye.